that the variation of the pitch isn't this. There are different between the two curves, and in literature for the emotion recognition, to have more precision of the variation of the pitch, we use the jitter critter. It will give more precision for the deviation of the pitch. So I have calculated for the two situations, and I have a different values. The same thing for the critter shimmer, but it interested to the variation energy, the deviation energies. Then we will animate the talking head, Greta. This in the happiness situation, and the neutral situation, and the anger situation. And I invite you to this when we have a neutral situation.
La partie de belote durera toute la journée.
And here, when we have happiness situation,
la partie de belote durera toute la journée.
The expression, the facial expression. I repeat.
La partie de belote durera toute la journée.
When he is happy, and here when she is anger.
La partie de belote durera toute la journée.
I repeat.
La partie de belote durera toute la journée.
And we say the difference between the three situations. To increase the autonomy of deaf and hard of hearing people in their day-to-day professional and social lives, a new approach based on the combination of speech recognition, emotion recognition, and talking head is presented. Our approach includes analysis of speech and prosodic information to animate the talking head Greta for our example. And in our formation of Master Andy in University of Paris, Paris 8, a work of a master is in progress, and we will make Greta produce cute speech. And finally, we are particularly interested in extending this approach to testing to include implementation of application and real-time contrast. I thank you for your attention.
Merci beaucoup, Ella. Vamos a ver si hay algunas preguntas.
Do you have any questions for the speaker? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Is it working? Can you hear? So I will translate into English. I'd like to know if you tried this with deaf people and what have been the results in this lip reading system.
Let's see. Which you happen?
Not yet. What we are now doing is systems that have been tried. So the avatars talking in full speech convey the information very clearly. There's no problem for people to understand. However, what we've been told, and this is the target of this test, it is very boring. The face doesn't change. The only thing that does is moves the lips and the hand to decode the signs, the signal, sorry. So they would like to have, can you not hear me? Is English not working? Is English not working? So in which context is this being used for avatars or lip reading? What we've tried to do, I don't know whether the problem is the same here, but at least in France, there's a lack of interpreters. So sign language interpreters. So at school, they use this program that we've mentioned this morning, the software, because there's a lack of interpreters. So there's a problem with reading and writing. So this morning, they've said something like 50% figures. In France, the problem is very severe. 80% of deaf people are illiterate. So the problem these people have is not that intrinsically they are disabled and they are illiterate, but rather they didn't have the right training, mostly due to history, political background, coming from the turn of the 19th century with the Milan conference, where the sign language was forbidden. So there was a rejection on the part of the deaf people, families, the fact that the sign language have been forbidden. Of course, they continue using it because, of course, the difference is huge in the linguistic structures of the sign language and the structures of French or Spanish or Catalan. So not a lot has been done with regard to learning of writing and reading by deaf people. And what you realize in analyzing this is that it's not a problem of being able to write or read, it's that it hasn't been taught how to read or how to write. So it's a huge task because the method will be different. And of course, we need to get rid of the barrier that has been artificially set up. One of the most important factors for integration and inclusion of people is reading and writing, of course. So this is a little bit of context for this approach and this project. Now, the question was more for when you were saying that people noticed that it was boring to read the lips in the avatar. In which context were you talking about? Were you talking about education, leisure? When? When did the person or the people in general find it boring? Well, we only tried the LPC. Some tests have been run, but very few. Mostly it's lip reading. What we have done is modeling the avatar so he talks perfectly. So you can do modeling so the phonetics are perfect and easy to decode in lip reading. However, when we've presented these avatars, mostly in applications for the audience in general, railway station, to report that there's delays in train. This is when these avatars have been used. And the feedback we've had by the users is that, well, it's very discouraging that there's no expression on the face. So does the system recognize the voice and then do lip reading? I'm not sure I understand the system. Would the system, through a phone call, be able to reproduce what is being listened to and then the person will read it on the lips? Yes, that's the idea. Because so far you cannot do it because the calculation time is too long with regard of the speech speed, but it is something that has a solution, so they are working on it. We just started. Okay, because we, in our foundation, we've been running lip reading courses with postlocutive deaf people. So we've tried voice recognition systems, but here in Catalonia we have a problem. We have the problem with Catalan. So I understand this could be a good system for us. Well, it is, if it is voice recognition, yes. We are based upon existing voice recognition system. We have not developed that. There are very many programs and software applications with voice-based recognition. The only one thing you need to do is to integrate the phonetics, the lip movement in Catalan, for instance, so they can be integrated for the lip reading in Catalan. And if it's, I don't know if Catalan is a complex language, I have no idea, he says. Well, it's oral. They took in oral language to communicate, so the system is the same. Sorry, we didn't hear her. She's not using the mic, so we didn't hear her. Well, very good. I don't know if anyone has any more questions. Other than that, thank you very much, Madam Darcy.